Welcome to another episode of the apocalypse, the horrid, terrible, abominable apocalypse, where more and more we are watching the facade fall away. And did you know that you must choose the apocalypse? Therefore, you have made your choice. Congratulations for choosing the apocalypse. Since you have unwisely chosen the apocalypse, you are in urgent need of a guide. Unfortunately for me, I happen to be that guide, your humble guide. Nicholas, so good to see you. I am here to let the Rube know what they have done, and I am also here to guide the true of heart through it, those who are not on the side of the Antichrist. Literally, this is not drama, people. You wish it was. It appears that Donnie is a dictator, or a dictator, if you will. He keeps admitting it. Anyway, let's begin. My God, the amount of abominations. There's so much. I'm going to go quickly through it. Keep up, class. We're starting from yesterday morning. We're going to work till now. Why is it that ABC and NBC fake news, two of the absolute worst and most biased networks anywhere in the world, aren't paying millions of dollars a year in license fees? Okay, once again, Donnie applies the protection racket to everything. Wherever our troops are, oh, we've got our troops here, pay us. Whoever does business, you want the right to do business? I want 10%, 20%, the percentage will get bigger as time goes on. It always does with the mob. Right, oligarchy? You knew better. I hope you're ready to part with a lot of your money. A fuckload, son. I know you thought you were smart because your bank account's real big. I know. You're not. He's going to milk you for everything. Almost every one of you. You're watching it happen. Fucking idiots. So Donnie, if you want to broadcast, you should be paying Donnie as well. Everyone should be paying Donnie. That's what he wakes up to. That's always the thought in his mind. Everyone should also be worshiping Donnie. We're watching the worship sessions on a daily basis with the cabinet meetings, where they go around the table and they tell him how great he is. And they kiss his ass. Have you ever seen anything like it? No. Why? Because this is the Antichrist, that's why. Worship. You watch it daily. People worship him on television. Namely his cabinet. We watched it 2 days in a row. Today was my God. So Donnie thinks, like everybody else should be paying him, the network should be paying license fees, and that means paying Donnie, not anyone else. They should lose their licenses for their unfair coverage. So Donnie here again saying which press outlets are allowed to broadcast. He would like to get rid of whoever he pleases. Eventually we will get to the point. We're almost there. My God, we're so close. Only Reich-approved news, in quotes, will be put forth, just like back in Germany in the 30s. Literally. Same thing here. Here's Gavin Newsom in Rube speak. Accept what is written and broadcast in the fake news. I now have the highest poll numbers I've ever had, some in the 60s, even in the 70s. Thank you. Make America Gavin again. GCN. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. I was thinking about this. Now, this is from yesterday. As I was scrolling about, I was thinking about this scene the day before and how just fucking creepy it was. And what a portent of, my God, the abominations to come. This scene. And it popped up in my feed, and someone pointed out that Donnie didn't put his hand on the Bible. But the way Melania looked, the whole scene, them being sworn in, the family there, ooh, Satan all over it, son. I know you heard a lot of preachers talk. I know you've heard a lot of broadcasters. You wasted your goddamn time. It's all happening now. Satan all over it. Melania especially creeped me out. It's almost as if certain entities knew, and there's all kind of reversals and weirdnesses. You know, all the things you pointed the liberals and said they were doing. Here. They're doing it. You gave them the keys. I suggest you take your name off it. The first president of the U.S. in over 100 years not to put his hand on the Bible while taking the oath of office, well, that's because he's the Antichrist. You've been duped, evangelicals. Yes, you have. Or maybe you were down the whole time. Maybe that's the real problem. So much of the church was not of Christ and was of Satan. How else do you explain them going along so easily? The majority, overwhelmingly, of the church. Maybe they were never the church. Maybe like it back in Jesus' day, they were the synagogue of Satan. Could that be? It certainly appears that way. So yeah, there's a reason he didn't put his hand on the Bible. And my God, this scene again. And I just found it funny. I was thinking of it the day before, and then this popped up. Again, let me just be blunt here. What you're witnessing is what we call the apocalypse. And there are real believers in Jesus Christ that will not go along with these people. And have never, will never. They will be persecuted heavily, very strongly, and it's not funny. Most of the people professing to be of Christ are going along with this. This is what they're going along with. And the sad thing is that I know better than them, and they're reading the Bible every day. They didn't hear the word, though. They just use it to get where they want to go. Here. Because if they heard the word, son, they wouldn't be down with this thing. Not even remotely. Never tempted once. It's so repugnant and evil. You're in the apocalypse. He's the Antichrist. I always wondered if it was real. Guess what, class? It's real. And it doesn't matter what you believe, I believe. While we're here, it only matters what they believe. The Reich. For eternity, it matters what he believes. Not what I believe, you believe. Meaningless. A hard thing to accept for even me. But you can accept it or not. I wouldn't want to be on the side of not. He's the Antichrist. They're also Nazis. And again, it's not what I believe about them. It's what they believe. Camps, masked men with machine guns rounding people up that are obviously not law enforcement. Ethnic cleansing. Eventually, which will lead to extermination because it costs way too much money to house all the people they want to round up. Again, this scene. All the crazy shit I said back when he first got reelected and for the past 10 years, it's all happening now. The only reason it didn't happen, a lot of it in the first term, is he didn't have the sycophants in place. Now he does. That's why it's all happening so fast. And the thing is, these aren't people stumbling and bumbling around. They have a plan, and it's an obvious one. And it's a Reich, and it's forced labor, and it's a mark, and it's an image, AI, surveillance. A whole new thing. So yes, you're in that thing. Whether you believe in it or not, irrelevant. You're still in it. You can deny the wave is coming. It will still come and crash on your head. I'm sure a lot of people during World War II didn't want to hear it, didn't want to think about it, until the Blitzkrieg came to their doorstep. Well, the Blitzkrieg is happening with our own military against us. And yes, they went along. Eventually, that will lead to Blitzkrieg of Canada, Greenland, Mexico, the Panama, the Suez, Gaza. In different ways. The whole world is fucked. And again, I'm not here for fun. I'd much rather be sleeping, son. But this is the final act. I don't know how long it lasts. It doesn't feel like it's gonna last long, though, at the pace it's going. Let me move on. I digress too much. There's way too much here. I can't believe how many pictures I have. Here's Donnie talking about judges yesterday. I have a constitutional right to appoint judges and U.S. attorneys, but that right has been completely taken away from me in states that have just one Democrat United States senator. This is because of an old, outdated custom known as blue slip, blah, blah, blah. So Donnie wants to appoint whatever judge and attorney he wants. That's what Bukele did. And Donnie will eventually fire a lot of judges. I bet eventually he may even fire the Supreme Court and replace them. Wouldn't that be fitting for the traitors on that bench? And you know which ones they are. It always comes back and bites you in the ass when you enable this shit. Dictatorship, fascism, Nazism, Satanism. Again, not like your friends that say they're Satanists. This is a whole nother thing, son. And it ain't no fucking game, and it ain't fun, and it ain't cool. So Donnie's setting that table, and you know, every time there's a Democratic administration, there's always a senator or two that stops every nomination. The Republican strategy for every liberal administration is stall and make sure nothing happens for 4 years. And, you know, that's partly the reason we've regressed back to 1933 Germany. Literally. Again, after you saw Leon do the Nazi salute, did you still think the Nazi comparisons were so absurd? Like I always said, the Nazis vote Republican, son. They always have. And everybody fucking knows it. Here's Donnie talking about Chris Christie and saying he committed a crime and all that. I'm not going to read it. I just want to give you the point. And the point I'm trying to make with this video is how many abominations in one day. This is all yesterday. We ain't even close to done. So he's talking shit on Chris Christie, making fun of his weight and all that. Meanwhile, Donnie's a fat tub of orange shit with a diaper on, full of shit. Literally. Again, no drama here. I'm stating cold, hard, fucking, fuck you reality. Don't matter if you agree. It's still real. It's still here. Eventually going to be in all of our faces. Much, much closer. Unfortunately. So he looks absolutely terrible. Stuff like that. I mean, again, this fat, disgusting slob talking about Chris Christie. What a joke. He's mad about something with George Stephanopoulos. Like, who cares? Why do I even have this here? Here's a random commenter. I can't imagine being so short-sighted, so poorly informed, so controlled by a cult that I'm fine with the military patrolling our city streets, but completely outraged that Cracker Barrel decided to update its logo. I never realized how powerful hate is. Again, I didn't realize how powerful it was until 2015. And the whole Donnie Shitbags thing happened. It's the only logical answer why people vote to stick their foot up their own ass. The hate blinds them. And we know what kind of hate, because we're watching Latin people get rounded up. We're watching black people get harassed in D.C. by the new Gestapo that's out. The military. We're seeing who the targets are. And again, this Cracker Barrel bullshit, they're deploying the military on your streets and you're thinking about Cracker Barrel. I was going to make the same point tonight. I forgot I even had this in here. Incredible how easily the rubes are to just make roll with the tide, man. And never look past it. As long as there's some cruelty or evil being done in their name, they're cool with whatever, dictatorship, kingship, Caesarship, losing all their rights, their military turned against them. They'll take it all with a smile, as long as the bread and circus of cruelty against Latin people, black governors, liberal governors, majority black areas. Notice the woman at the Federal Reserve that Donnie's trying to fire. What color she is. He really wanted to fire Jerome, but he didn't. He fired the black woman. Do you notice that theme? It keeps repeating itself. Gee, I wonder why. I never realized how powerful hate is. It's the only reason Donnie ever won office in the first place. A black guy was president for 8 years, and people lost their fucking minds. It really brought out the reality that racism is alive and fucking well in this country. Being racist is one thing. Moving it to slavery, moving it to rounding people up of certain ethnicities, to racial profiling, moving it back to where it used to be. That's a whole nother animal, isn't it? Anyway, This is Hassett, the financial guy for the Reich, on CNBC yesterday. So we should expect the U.S. government to be taking more equity stakes in businesses around the country. Hassett, it's possible. Yeah, that's absolutely right. So now we are a communist or hybrid socialist country where the government demands pieces of businesses. Again, I told the oligarchy he would never stop coming to your door. First you laid tribute. Now he's coming for percentages. What do you think's next? Seizure of assets, perhaps? Like Vlad does? Since that's done, he's boss and idle, right? You people can't even remotely fathom what you've done. The beast you've unleashed upon yourselves because you have money. Where else what other door would the beast knock on but yours, son? I know you all think you can keep him in check, or you thought. No one can, son. No one. Here's Donnie yesterday, and he said the same thing today, which I'll get to. They say we don't need him. Freedom, freedom. He's a dictator. He's a dictator. A lot of people are saying, maybe we like a dictator. No, I don't think a lot of people are saying that. The cult has been saying that for 10 years, but they're a minority. You send in troops, and instead of being praised, they're saying you're trying to take over the republic. What else would you say when you send in troops? Again, inversion of reality, as if sending in troops to American streets is a good thing. Amazing that these sentences get said out loud, and every reporter in the room is like, what did you just say, sir? How would you like troops deployed at Mar-a-Lago, cunt? Nah, you wouldn't like that, would you? Unbelievable what you people out there let these people get away with on a daily basis. Stating evil outright. Stating the military takeover of you outright with your own troops. And that you should be thanking him for it. Amazing. Hitler would be proud. Goebbels would. Oh my God. These people are sick. No, the sick one deployed your military against you. That's the sick one. The one who leaves his house in orange face every day. That's sick, son. Epstein's best friend. That's sick. My God. The guy who goes down and does press conferences at new, concentration camps in the fucking swamp. He's not the sick one. You rubes enabling this fucking demon. You're not the sick ones, right? Ooh. The man gonna let us all know who the sick ones is. It's gonna take a little while. But man, when that day comes, oh, it's gonna be ugly. Holy fuck. You send in troops, and instead of being praised, they're saying you're trying to take over the republic. Yeah. Again, the point I'm trying to make is how many abominations in one day. And what this thing is. Have you ever seen anything like this? They act like sending in troops is a bad thing. Let's send them to Mar-a-Lago and they can police Donnie. Is that cool? I didn't think so. You call Kamala Harris a communist, but the Biden-Harris administration never called for nationalizing a private company like you're doing to Intel. Is this the new way of industrial policy? Yes, Rubes, you're communists now. You used to point at the liberals and say they're socialists and communists. You didn't even know what the fucking words mean. You were the communists, the Satanists, the fascists. You, not the liberals. Sorry. Just like in Hitler's day. That's why the liberals got locked up first. That's why the liberals are getting persecuted first. Don't worry, it'll get round to you. It already has a lot of you. Your farms, your businesses, your government job. Didn't matter how you voted, did it? Didn't save you. Pity. So Donnie answers the question. Yeah, sure it is. I want to try to get as much as I can. Not America can, I can. And we all know where all these things are going. The tariff money, this money, the 10%, the 20%. Those are Donnie's deals, right? So whose pocket they going in? I want to try and get as much as I can. The extortion racket, the protection racket, the mob activity just being openly discussed now. On live television first thing in the morning. Again, have you ever seen anything like this? Every CEO, oligarch come lay tribute at a person's feet. A commercial made of gold statues of them on the Holy Land. Him getting 10%, 20% of companies. Him wanting to annex half the globe. Camps, masked men, kidnappings, troops on your streets. Have you ever seen abominations all day? A circle jerk of compliments and praise, worship of this thing put before you. Have you ever seen anything like it? Nope. Not since Germany or maybe Russia, China, but we're not from there. Still not like this. I hate to barge in on a city and then be treated horribly by corrupt politicians and bad politicians like a guy like Pritzker, so he's talking about Chicago. He ought to spend more time in the gym, actually. Again, this fat slob who can barely hold his eyes open with IV bruises because they're probably pumping him full of God knows what to keep him going. And don't worry, the devil will keep him alive. But I have pondered, and I brought this up before, if he dies, this false prophet person that demands an image be made to him, could that be because he dies? I wonder. But the story, if I remember correctly, forgive me, I haven't looked at it in a bit. There's a lot there. If memory serves, the false prophet and the Antichrist die during the big war. But again, scripture's very funny to interpret. But my understanding is they die during the big war. And you know what that is, and you know what that's called, and you know where that's going to be, according to the story. So I don't think he's going to die prematurely. I could be wrong. Maybe that's why the image is demanded. Maybe that's how Co-Chancellor gets back in charge via JD. Who knows? But Donnie has the blessing. So I don't think Donnie's going to croak. Hitler was a fucking mess, health-wise, that 12 years, 33 to 45. Donnie's a mess. That doesn't mean he can't live another 15, 20 years as a mess. Like Adolf did. He made it 12. He had to take his own life in the end because the Russians were coming. Would have lived longer. Why? Because he had the blessing. Because the devil keeping him alive. I'm not joking. Hitler was the devil's hero then. The devil's pawn. The devil's prince, if you will. The devil's Christ on earth, if you will, at that time. Donnie is that now. Sometimes I wonder if it's Vlad, but Vlad doesn't have control of the most powerful military. Vlad doesn't, I don't know, have this much open praise all the time. He does have it, but not like Donnie, my God. He makes it an art form. Forcing adoration. Forcing praise to be spoken, be it real, fake, whatever. He doesn't care. So again, a fat slob like Donnie talking about Pritzker needing the gym, and he's only talking shit about Pritzker because he wants to deploy troops in Pritzker's, state, and Pritzker doesn't want that. How dare he not want the military turned against him? Here's Donnie. We stopped 3 wars, go to Africa. They like to say, oh, I love black people. And I did great with the vote of the black people. But they say he's a racist. He's a racist. Really? The Congo, that's deep into deepest, darkest Africa. In other words, Donnie's saying, I'm trying to help even the really dark-skinned blacks in the Congo. That means I'm not racist. Oh my God. What do you even say about this? Again, when I read this, the Congo, that's deep into deepest, darkest Africa. Well, what you mean by dark, son? We all know what he means. And that's supposed to be the evidence that Donnie's not a racist, not leading a racist or Nazi movement, because he's trying to help Congo, and they're the darkest black people. So he can't be racist. Holy fuck is all I can say. Again, I'm trying to show you the abomination, just the sheer volume. This is one day again. Yesterday, again, this is the lawyer. Earlier this morning, Kilmar Abrego Garcia was detained yet again as part of the Trump admin's plan to deport him to Uganda. I'm going to stop right here. The man was let go on the charges, allowed to go home. The Reich said, we're going to grab him again and ship him to Uganda. He turned himself in again to authorities. I believe he's been released since. But my God, the persecution of this man that he does not deserve. And anyone involved, and I mean anyone involved in what's happened to this man, I pity you for when the man comes around. This man has been so persecuted, and it's been a big joke to the Reich, let alone the millions of others. But this man, they're trying to make an example out of. Only good thing is his name got out there in the public and everyone's mouth. Because there's a lot of people just like him that aren't getting this chance. So he got out. They grabbed him again. A judge said you can't deport him. They let him go again. Again, anyone who has a hand in this, what's happened to this man, I pity you. Donnie talking about drug prices, and again, he pretty much was just sitting in the chair yesterday making these proclamations and getting asked questions, and my God, so many abominations in one day. It's exhausting. I'm going to be reducing drug prices by 1,400, 1,500%. Donnie keeps saying this over and over again. You cannot reduce something by 1,400% or 1,500% logically when you're talking about price. No, this isn't advanced fucking physics here. You can only reduce something 100% to zero. Unless you're going to hand out money to people, which I don't think you're going to do. So we're going to go to zero. That's the end point. That's finito. The limit, the wall. Therefore, if I'm charging $1,000 for a bottle of pills and I reduce that price 100%, I'm reducing it to zero. You can go no further. You can't do 1,400, 1,500. But the rubes hear that and they walk away because they're fucking idiots. And they use that as a talking point. And Donnie knows that. Plus, Donnie has dementia. Plus, Donnie likes to tell fish stories. And the fish always gets bigger. By the day. We're up to 10 wars Donnie has stopped now. What will it be next week? 11, 12, 20? So you can't reduce prices more than 100%. It's impossible. The lies aren't even good lies, and that's what you gave your country to. But I know the real reason, and so do you. That you'll go along with anything to keep this party going. Unfortunately, that's going to cost you everything, son. I'm sorry you chose it. I did not. People were starting to talk about how Donnie didn't get 10% of Intel for nothing. Billions of taxpayer dollars went towards that, and that is the truth. Donnie heard about this. Now he's come out with the lie. I paid zero for Intel. That's in all caps. It is worth approximately $11 billion. All goes to the USA. No, it doesn't. That's why he said, I paid zero. We know, Donnie, that you paid zero. The American taxpayer you were milking dry, who you make pay for everything. They paid billions. Why are stupid people unhappy with that? I will make deals like that for the country all day long. No, they're for himself. Did you get a check? No, and you never will. I will also help those companies that make such lucrative deals with the U.S. I love seeing their stock price go up. Donnie loves getting a percentage. Donnie loves tribute. Donnie loves protection racket. Anyone that does business, I told you, day one and before the election, you have to pay him for the right to do business. Just like I got to buy ads with Russian money to be untouchable on this website. I can't afford to do that. Russia doesn't pay me $100,000 a month. Had I done that, well, I'd have 1 million followers and be allowed to broadcast and tell whatever lie the right-wing grift machine wanted me to. And the rubes loved hearing. Same principle here. Donnie thinks he's Caesar. Google is Caesar here. You know what happened to Caesar, right? So yeah, we know Donnie paid zero. But you, the taxpayer, did not pay zero. You paid billions, and we'll get to how that works. There's a reason Donnie said 11 billion. We'll get to it. Oh, this isn't Hitlery at all, right, Ropes? A large poster of Donald Trump is now hanging from the Department of Labor building in D.C. I believe there's two of them, actually. That's not Hitlery or Maui or Stalin or Kim Jong-un or Xi or Putin at all. Right, jerk-offs? Right. It's not a Reich at all. It's not a satanic dictatorship at all. Here's Stephen Miller, and here's what the scene of sycophants looked, all bucking to shiv the other for greater power and influence. Stephen Miller making a lot of this happen. Donnie loves how cruel Stevie is. Stephen Miller on DC residents. For the first time in their lives, they can use the parks. They can walk on the streets. You have people who can walk freely at night without having to worry about being robbed or mugged. They are wearing their watches again. In fact, the exact opposite is happening. People aren't going out because they don't like guys with machine guns on every corner. That's not fun. It kills the mood. They don't like military takeovers. Stevie's telling an outright fabrication right there. So sad, isn't it? Who would have thought that guys with machine guns on every corner would creep people out, Stevie? There's a reason you creep people out, you fucking ghoul. The same reason the guys with machine guns creep people out. So no, they're not wearing their watches again. Who even wears a watch anymore, honestly, with the cell phone phenomenon? But, yeah, none of this is happening. The businesses are like, you're killing our business. The streets are empty. But hey, they got their Reich, and that's all that matters, right, Rubes? Good thing you don't own a bar in D.C., huh? Jerk off. Don't worry, it'll come round knocking on your door, too. It always does. Look what happened in Germany. What do you think they're building here? Germany was fucking rubble. And my God, what the Russians did, you don't even want to know, son. So what do you think's going to happen to America on this trajectory? Which is too late to stop, by the way. I'm not saying we can stop it. Rubes? 1945 Germany, that's where we're going. But on a much larger scale. One that'll change the world forever. So this picture that, with the troops on the streets with the machine guns, it's just, everything's so much better now. For so many years, and so many people have said this, how did 1933 Germany happen? How did that whole thing? Oh, this is how it happened, and it's too late to stop it. We're going there. I'm sorry. I wish I had better news for you. Wish I had better news for me. Trump on U.S. troops in South Korea. One of these things I'd like to do is ask them, the South Korean government, to give us ownership of the land where we have a big fort. In other words, again, protection racket. We have troops there. What are you going to give me? What are you going to pay me for that protection? When it's protection for the U.S., it's not protection for South Korea. That's not what it's there for. Protection racket, once again. Oh yeah, just give me the property. I know it's your country, but I want it. And I'm Caesar. Protection racket again. Every time it's some grift. Donnie on the Department of Defense. And what else would the Antichrist want but to change the name to the Department of War? The Department of Defense, it didn't sound good to me. It didn't sound good. Defense? What are we? Defense? Why are we defense? It used to be called the Department of War, and it had a stronger sound. Defense? I don't want to be defense only. We want defense, but we want offense too. We know, Antichrist. We know. You've bombed what, 4 countries so far? And you've turned our own troops against us. And of course they went along because, you know, it wouldn't be dystopia without your own troops turning the guns on you. As they, you know, take your money and salary. Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful. The generals, too, they're all going along. Donnie on burning a flag. If you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. No early exits, no nothing. You get 1 year in jail. You burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. You will see flag burning stopping immediately. Donnie's always had a problem with this. He knows a lot of people will be burning flags as the Reich unfolds as well. He wants people to get a year automatic. That's not the law, though, actually. It's actually protected speech. But Donnie has proclaimed it. A veteran did set a flag on fire like immediately after this in D.C. They arrested him for a little while. They let him go a little bit later. I guess he won't get the year in jail despite the proclamation by Donnie. Maybe they don't like the optics of locking a veteran up for burning a flag. I don't know. Or maybe they'll just disappear him later. You know, like guys in masks with a van, you know, like they do every day. Where do you think that's going, son? You thought that was just for illegal immigrants? There's stories every day how they grab U.S. citizens. And they're detained for days, weeks. Everybody thought it was a game. Everyone thought they knew better. Now it's over. Everything is over. So yes, I watched the video of the man burn the flag, the veteran. He got arrested. I saw the video of him getting arrested, and he was released today, I believe. And someone did an interview with him. I didn't watch the interview. I don't need to hear him discuss how he burned the flag and what happened. I watched what happened. But again, Caesar has proclaimed 1 year in jail for flag burning. So that's how we do things now. Congress don't pass shit no more, unless it's tax cuts for rich people, or cuts to Medicare and Medicaid, which will kick in right after the midterms. Jerk-offs. And you know who I'm talking to. The people that made this happen. The very ones that'll be complaining when they lose their Medicaid or part of their Medicare or whatever's about to happen to them. We do things by proclamation. Now, there's a reason these proclamations are made pretty much daily to get you used to it. Congress doesn't pass shit. The Senate doesn't pass shit. Maybe once or twice a year. It's to normalize it. And boy, has he. Proclamations every day. And people go along for the most part. Here's Donnie talking about D.C. We always have a murder week. They call it a murder week. You come here from Iowa. You come here from Indiana. You come here from Idaho because you're so proud of your country. You know why he's naming those states. You know what he's trying to say. You love your country, then you get murdered. Your son gets murdered. Your daughter gets murdered. You get murdered. See the media, you get murdered. You know why he picked those states to talk about those people coming to D.C. We know exactly what he's trying to say there. Again, checkmate. Troops in D.C. It's too late. He's never leaving. Checkmate. I told you again when he invaded LA, you were watching the beginning of the military takeover of your country. He wants to go to all the major cities, liberal cities. Do you know why he fucked with Cali first? Not just because of Newsom. I told you this a long time ago, class. Cali has one of the largest economies in the world. Donnie and Stevie want that. And so do others. There's a reason all those liberal cities are being targeted first as well. Not just because they're liberal and ethnic bastions. To persecute for the Rubes, for the Reich, just like in 33 when they persecuted the liberals. No. Where's all the money created in this country? In the big liberal cities. Only because of population and workplace density. Doesn't mean they're better. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's where most of the commerce is centered. It's where a large number of people can work every day. Economic central, if you will, throughout the country, dotted the major cities, which tend to be liberal. Run by liberals. Those are the largest money-making areas. Do you hear me, class? New York, Chicago, LA, California in general. The big cities. You have them in red states as well. Those are the major economic centers. What is Donnie about first and foremost? The grift and money. So it ain't just about persecuting liberals for the rubes, for theater, as subjugation, so the people in the red areas won't notice or care when it gets to them. It'll be too late. It's already been deployed everywhere else. They can't do shit about it. They're also the major economic centers. The Reich wants control of those. It ain't just about racism. It's about where the money is made. They want control of those areas. Then they can pocket that money. President Trump said that he will allow 600,000 Chinese students to come to the U.S. Okay, why? This is a Nazi Reich. They don't like minorities of any kind. The Aryan white race is all that they like. That's Nazism, one of its core tenets. So why allow 600,000 Chinese students? Because we're in a trade war with China. Donnie is losing his ass. Same as he did the last time, for the 4 years he had the tariffs on China. They did not budge an inch the entire time. They don't have to, son. I told you, class. You can't win a trade war against China if you're America. It's too late. They shipped all the factories over there. Too late. All the products come from there. They got you over a barrel, son. You lose the second you declare it. Donnie's at the point where he's kissing ass, saying we're going to let 600,000 Chinese students, when he knows the Rubes hate that. He knows Miss Loomer and the Reich people hate that. But he has to. He's kissing Xi's ass, hoping Xi gives him a win on the trade thing. Nope, ain't going to happen. There's no reason to give Donnie a win. China already won. Again, there's no competition. You can't win a trade war as America against China. You lose second one. This is a desperation move by Donnie, letting the 600,000 Chinese students. It's pathetic to watch, actually. Here's a random commenter. Seizing the means of production through stock grabs. Tariffs so extreme companies beg the king for exemptions. Cronies siphoning billions with time trades. Propaganda posters plastered across D.C. Armed troops in the streets. MAGA is communism. No, it's fascism. Communism, how it's supposed to work, is all the businesses are owned by the state, and it's all for the common good, and the money goes to everyone, and the spoils go to everyone. That's true living as a commune. No country does that. Never have, never will. Otherwise, there wouldn't be rich and poor in every single country. Everyone would have plenty. The modern version of communism that actually takes place is really mob rule, where the mob just takes what it wants. It doesn't filter and trickle down to the people. They let the people live in squalor in third world conditions. The people at the top pocket all the money. That's not a true commune. This, what the kind of communism you have in China, you have in Russia. That's a mob-run country where they take what they want. That's not true communism, but they call it that. But what you're really witnessing, which is modern communism, so this person's right. It's not true communism, though. What you're witnessing is a mobster at the top taking what he wants, and he will take more and more and more. This is a black hole that can never be filled, son. You people, again, you think you have him in check at the top of these companies. You don't. He will milk you fucking dry in all these different ways. Tariffs, tribute, percentages. You let a mobster have the keys to your vault. It's over for you. Sorry. Only a matter of time. And not long either. Already got 10% of one big company. So what you're seeing is a mobster that has a fascist ideology. He worships that kind of Hitler-esque Caesarship and worship that certain dictators have gotten throughout the years, especially the Nazi regime. So you have a mobster who believes in protection rackets, taking percentages, VIGs. Everyone pays him for the right to do anything. Anything. We have our troops somewhere, you pay us for that. Everything's pay me. Like the mob. So it's not really communism, but it's the modern version of it. So yeah, you voted for a communist who happens to be a mobster like Vlad, like Xi. Same principles, same ideas, same philosophies. Who's going to take what he wants? And we'll call that, as a political ideology, we'll call that communism. No, it's just the mob taking what they want. That's all. Again, if businesses were really seized for the good of the state and the people, of the community, no one would be poor. No one would be rich. Everyone would be fine. If that was the way things were actually done. But it's not. The money is siphoned from the mobsters at the top. They pocket it all. Everyone else fights for the tiniest of crumbs. America used to be a little fair. The rich used to share a little bit with the poor. Not anymore. They want it all. All. So yes, we have, I guess Russian-style communism, which is fascism where Vlad takes what he wants whenever he wants. That's all. That's what Donnie's going to do. He's already starting to do it. Again, Donnie back in the Oval. I believe this was yesterday. Have you been briefed on the search of John Bolton's home? No, I have not been briefed. I read it just like you did. I was never a fan of his. I thought he was stupid. Yes, we know, Donnie, and we know you're behind it. And Donnie just, again, that's Donnie's way of admitting that. It was all his idea, and he was behind it. No, he didn't hear about it on television. Trump on the war in Gaza. I think in the next 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to have a pretty good conclusive ending. It's always in 2 weeks with Donnie, always. Here's Donnie again. A lot of people are saying maybe we'd like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense and I'm a smart person. He deployed your own military against you. And he's about to do it in a bunch more places. He's a dictator. He just admitted it there. And he's trying to normalize this as well. That's why he keeps saying it. Too late. We already got a dictator. It's going to get so much worse. I wish I was wrong, but I'm not. Because I'm real disgusted about this. Okay? Don't let the laughs here and there fool you. Because I had about enough of this planet and the whole thing a long time ago. Now I got to live through this bullshit. An orange-faced fucking demon. Literally. In this fucked up reality. Some fucking grand piece of shit lesson. I don't know what the fuck to call it. Test. So an orange cunt can milk the whole society dry and hopefully at the end of it, some justice is done. Yeah, that's not very appealing, man. But I guess it wasn't back in World War II, back in the Roman era, all of it. Does that help us out right now? Does that make me feel any better? Absolutely fucking not. Let me continue, I digress. Donnie's a smart person, even though everyone's saying he's a dictator. A lot of people are saying it. Maybe we'd like a dictator. No one's saying that except the cult. I've been saying that for 10 years. You people want a king. You want a dictator. You're that weak-minded. The rest of us don't. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense. I'm a smart person. No, you're not smart. You're just ruthless, and everyone stands back and lets you get away with it. For some reason. Unbelievable. Again, all this was yesterday, I believe. They call me the president of Europe, which is an honor. Again, there's more context to that, but how many times have I told you this thing is the Antichrist? He demands worship and he wants every title. No one calls him the president of Europe. But he says it out loud. He needs to believe it. He wants to be Pope. He wants the Nobel. He wants to be president. He wants to be king of the world. What'd he say? I run the country and the world now. Said that to the Atlantic magazine a while back. This time I run the country and the world. They call me the president of another title he needs to bestow upon himself. Have you ever seen anything like it? The most crooked person in modern history I can think of is Richard Nixon. He makes Nixon look like a fucking saint. You know, if we leave people like Vlad Putin out of the equation. I've never seen anything. I've never seen such a God complex. He believes it. Leon believes it about himself as well. A God complex. He deserves to run the world. He's that much of a genius, right? And these sociopaths somehow climb to the top. Well, they start off born filthy rich. That helps. But somehow they climb to the top of society. leeching the whole fucking way, leeching billions. And we must tolerate their delusions of grandeur. To the point the whole world ends. Amazing. No one calls him the president of Europe. Reporter, you called Kamala Harris a communist, yet the Biden-Harris administration never proposed nationalizing a private company like you are with Intel. Is this the new way of industrial policy? And again, there's more context in his answer this time. Yes, sure it is. I want to try and get as much as I can. I hope I'm going to have many more cases like Intel. So that's Donnie admitting I'm going to be taking percentages of all the large companies. Google, Meta, Twitter. Did you hear me? I know you thought you could control this. I know. I know. I hope I'm going to have many more cases like Intel. We know, Donnie. And you're going to pocket every goddamn cent of it. We know. This the beast, son. Not a beast. The beast, son. And that's not son like ghetto fabulous son. That's son like you're a child. So many of you walking around and the people in the cult, my God. Because you allowed this thing to just take it all. You spouted rubery, talking points from a KGB agent, much smarter than you. You handed your country over to the enemy on a silver platter. Not one shot had to be fired. Donnie going to take more percentages of more companies just like a real mobster. Not a communist, a mobster. Communism is, the cute, shield word we put over the mobster as he just takes what he wants. Or the Caesar or the king takes what he wants from anyone. Like Vlad took that 100 million from Google a few years ago. What do you think Donnie's going to do to you, son? I tried to warn you. You knew better, though. You still do. Still shutting me down. You know better, right, guys? I know. We paid Intel $11.1 billion for it in funding and grants. This is a poster letting you know, and it's fuck you, I quit that account, and they know what they're talking about. When Donnie says I paid zero for Intel, this post that I read you a while ago, a few posts back. Class, where does funding and grants that go to a company from the federal government come from? Where does that money come from? Roops and class? Your fucking pocket! That money will go to that company, $11.1 billion of your money. Donnie gets 10%. He says America gets 10%. After he says I get 10%. You put up $11 billion. As always, Donnie uses someone else's money. Donnie gets 10%. I'm sure he won't dip his hand into that at all. I'm sure he'll divvy it up and he'll send a check to all of you good patriots across the world, across the country. Right, Roops? Trump on Biden's pardons. It looks to me like those pardons are worthless. Well, why aren't Donnie's pardons worthless? Did he sign all of his pardons after his first term individually? Did he seem of sound mind to you his first term? He didn't to me. Not even close. Again, setting the table, letting you know this is Donnie admitting for the 90th time he will nullify the pardons and he will arrest who he wants anyway. The pardons are meaningless. That's what Donnie's saying. He's letting you know again what's about to happen. That's why, again, I implore all the people on the revenge list, the Clintons, the Obamas, etc., you know who you are, get the fuck out the country. Before he comes and grabs you. Because that's where all this is going. And everybody knows it. Unless you want to be a martyr, like I said, then I commend you. That's mighty ballsy of you. Yeah, those pardons are worthless because Donnie is the Antichrist, and yes, he will arrest liberals and his enemies, whoever is on the revenge list. I assume we were looking at the whole auto pen scam, all these pardons that he gave to some very bad people. Again, Donnie let abject criminals out of prison. He's been doing it his whole second term, too. Very unpatriotic people, very evil people. It looks to me like those pardons are worthless. The president didn't want this. The president didn't even know he was alive. Says the one with, again, full-blown dementia, and it's obvious. Again, and as I was reading this, it just struck me, again, I'm on my, 30th abomination here in one day. One day. All cruelty, all evil, all disgusting. I can't believe it actually exists. Again, inversion of reality. He's calling these other people bad and evil when it's everyone standing in this room right here. They are the bad and evil, son. And I'm not in a cult. You can believe what I say. Amazing. I mean, again, they just moved one of the most prolific sex traffickers to minimum security. But those other people that got pardons are criminals. That Biden pardoned, right. Right. I didn't see Biden's name in the Epstein contact book. I didn't see his name on the flight logs. I don't see Biden in pictures or footage with Epstein. I see your orange boy all over that shit, though. I have a great relationship with Kim Jong-un. I understand him. I spent a lot of free time with him talking about things that we probably aren't supposed to talk about. I'm horrified to even wonder what they talk about that they're not supposed to. Again, this is all one day. Every conversation I have with Putin is a good conversation, and then a bomb is loaded up in Kiev or someplace, and I get angry about it because Putin's in charge, and this is Donnie Krasnov, the employee. I think we're going to get the war done. Well, Donnie's been saying this for months and had multiple meetings, and nothing ever happens except Putin dropping more bombs, just like Donnie's saying here. I thought this war would be the easiest to solve. Strange things happen in war. No, you thought they'd go along with helping you get your Nobel. He doesn't want to solve shit. He never did. And he's been helping Putin the whole time. And that's fucking obvious. Are you prepared to order National Guard troops into American cities if those governors don't request the federal deployment? Trump I am. In other words, I'm just going to send them. Again, the military takeover of your country is in progress. You will see more troops in more towns. And no, son, there's nothing good about that. Get another abomination. I have a very good relationship with Kim Jong-un. Yes, we know, Donnie, you're in love. North Korea, I look forward to seeing him. I know him better than anybody almost, other than his sister. His sister knows him pretty well. Again, this is a murderous tyrant of a dictator, Kim Jong, and he talks to him like, they're good buddies. Donnie talking about D.C., half the restaurants closed because nobody could go, because they were afraid to go outside. Now those restaurants are opening and new restaurants are opening up. It's like a boom town within a week. No, it isn't. The exact opposite. The streets are empty. The restaurants are empty. People are scared because they're watching a military takeover. They watched people yell about it for 10 years. They never took it seriously. Now it's too late. Do you get it yet? Again, inversion of reality, the exact opposite is true. But, Donnie's trying to frame, as he frames all cruelty and evil that he does, in a positive light. This is about Abrego Garcia, a random commenter. The Nazis tried to ship Jewish people to every corner of the earth, and upon failing, turned to ovens. How many steps away from ovens is sending a Hispanic guy to Africa? Indeed, I've been telling you for a while, and they've been showing you any hellhole that will take these people, they're willing to send them. They don't care. That's basically a death sentence. Imagine you in Uganda. How would you fare? Not too well. You'd probably be dead in about an hour. Imagine you in the death camp in El Salvador. How would you fare? You'd probably be dead in about 15 minutes. What is the next logical step in this story, in this scenario of rounding millions of people up and trying to find places to put them? We all know what the next logical step in this scenario, especially since they did the Nazi salutes right in front of us. And you know who I'm talking about. Yes, it's going there. If it hasn't already gone there already, I don't know how those people are doing in El Salvador. I don't know how those people are doing in Florida. I don't know how the people are going to do in the other 97 camps they're opening it up. I think the biggest one's in Texas, actually, a military base. Yep, so the Nazis tried to ship the Jews wherever, whatever hell would take them, and then they got to the point where, well, no one wants them, so Hegseth on the National Guard. I found this Freudian slip interesting. Or excuse me, that's a different quote. I didn't get to it yet. At your direction as well, sir. Oh, it was kind of a slip. He didn't mean to blame it all on Donnie, but at your direction as well, sir. It's just common sense to make sure they're armed. The troops they put on your streets. I'm surprised they sent them out without the rifles immediately. Wow, they gave you a couple days to get used to it, and then they put the rifles and the sidearms in their hand. And yes, it was at Donnie's direction, by the way. That's why Petey said it, and then he realized, oh shit, that doesn't sound too good. Well, it's actually just common sense, sir. Of course, Petey delivered the remarks in his Fox News presentation voice. You know, the one where he tries to hide the fact that he's had, a fifth of gin before the fucking meeting. Anyway, would you also consider sending the National Guard into red states and red cities that are also seeing high crime? Because the red states have higher crime, by the way, and higher murder rates and all that. Trump, sure, but there aren't that many of them. It's only those pesky liberal areas. The obstacles to me and full Reich. The Rubes, we already got them bent over. They're compliant right now. It's really them pesky liberals we got to worry about. The Rube areas, they don't have a lot of high crime areas. Get the fuck out of here. Because there aren't that many of them. But Donnie's saying, sure, I'm willing to go into red states, high crime. I told you, son. And I saw the list of 19 states he wanted to go in. Several of those were red states. Sorry, Rubes. You put a Hitler in charge, and you know what a Hitler does? Devours everything, and that includes you as well. Are more raids like the one on John Bolton's house coming? More raids? I don't know. You'd have to ask the DOJ. They raided Mar-a-Lago. They started that. They are very evil. Very sick people, that group. No, Donnie and his group are the evil, sick people. Again, inversion of reality. And the reason they started with Donnie, because he kept 3,000 classified documents in the shitter at Mar-a-Lago. We all saw the pictures. We saw the FBI taking it away. Donnie said the documents are his. Give them back. When they called him and said, Donnie, could you return those documents you stole? No, they're mine. Vlad wants them. The FBI raided, took the documents back. In other words, Donnie's literally a criminal. That's why the FBI raided him. Bolton isn't. So here's the child. Well, they raided me. Yeah, because you stole 3,000 classified documents. And they tried to do it the nice way and call you up and say, hey, you fucking traitor, filthy espionage cunt. Can you give those back? We can do it quietly. No, they're mine. Okay, we gotta raid you and take them back then. See, there's a difference, Rubes. Your Messiah's an actual criminal. And you voted for a criminal, but you knew it. That won't go well for you in the future, but whatever. That was your choice. So no, they didn't start anything. Donnie started it by stealing 3,000 classified documents. Kilmar Abrego Garcia's lawyer. The only reason that they've chosen to take him into detention is to punish him for his exercising his constitutional rights. His constitutional right to fight back against being illegally deported to El Salvador. His constitutional right to speak up on the torture that he received at the direct request of our government. His constitutional right to have a jury trial. His constitutional right to leave the prison and come home to his family. Yep. Well said. And I know he's a lawyer and he's building up to the big lawsuit. I don't care. He's still right. Have you been briefed on the search of John Bolton's home? Back to Donnie yesterday. No, I was never a fan of his. I thought he was stupid. Again, a 4-year-old. So sad you people thought this was a good idea. It's why your country's over. You know that, right? I thought he was a guy that only wanted to go into war. He liked killing people. I thought he was essentially a bad guy, but I'm not involved with that. Yeah, that's a child trying to deflect. and hide his involvement, but he can't help but admit he's involved. Translation, Donnie was behind the whole thing. This, I don't even know what to say about this. Beverly Hills, I have friends. They leave their trunk open for their car because they know they're going to be vandalized. They don't want the trunk ripped off in order for them to steal what's in their bag. They leave their doors open so when they go in to steal the radio or whatever they take, they don't rip off the door. They leave the doors totally open so the criminals, when they go open the door, they don't have to break the windows and kill the car. Again, I want you to get a sense of everything he said yesterday. And again, this isn't even everything. It's just so much, though. Just when you hear it all, it's exhausting. And it leads you to one conclusion. We are fucking doomed. Is the Pentagon preparing for military deployment to Chicago? I mean, these questions, I can't believe they're being spoken out loud, and they're normal, right? We're ready to go anywhere. We can go anywhere on less than 24 hours notice. He means his military that you pay for, that he's going to turn against you. Here's a little bit of info about the deal with Intel. But the truce came with a cost. In return for Trump's support, the administration proposed taking an equity stake in the company. It decided to convert nearly $9 billion in grants promised to Intel as part of the 2022 CHIPS Act into a 10% equity stake in the company, an unusual arrangement that makes the government Intel's biggest shareholder. Again, Donnie used your money to buy stock and get 10% of a company, and you get nothing. My God, the grift going on. Again, Kilmar's lawyer. We asked the ICE officer what the reason for his detention was. The ICE officer didn't answer. This is fascism, what you're hearing right now. We asked the ICE officer which detention center he would be taken to. The ICE officer said that they weren't able to say. We asked the ICE officer for a copy of any paperwork that's being served on him today. The ICE officer wouldn't commit to even giving us that paperwork, so you don't know where he's going. You don't know the charges or reason. No paperwork. That's fascism, baby. That's no due process. That's the Reich. That's the dystopia you're in now. Oh, this is Keith Olbermann, Donnie's comment about Pritzker. He ought to spend more time in the gym. Olbermann says President Fat Fuck has some health tips in between his attempts to disguise his IV ports and swollen limbs and face. Yes, we'll get to that. Good point, though. Donnie's in horrid shape, so for him to talk about the way anyone looks or their weight, Donnie's obese. I mean, what a joke. And here's Donnie's hand from yesterday. The big bruise on the hand. I don't know how well you can see it. And the second I saw it, every once in a while you see this on Donnie and people make a big deal about it as if he's going to die tomorrow. Well, all I see is an old person that's getting IV reinserted all the time, and that's what happens. It bruises up. That's all I see there. You're going to see this over and over and over again. And they could just be giving him an IV of drugs like Michael Jackson every fucking day. It wouldn't surprise me. That's what they did with Hitler. They just, injected him with different cocktails every day. I got another picture here because everyone was all over this yesterday. And again, you know, I've seen this before in old people again. In my opinion, that's just, you know, the constant re-entry of an IV. That's what it does to old people's hands and everybody's hands eventually. Trump on the troops he's sending into cities. They have to pass a toughness test, otherwise they're not working for us. And we're allowed to do that now according to the Supreme Court. I always knew, I tried to tell you, these troops that will be used against you and the guys in the masks, they're going to want to make sure that those people are down with the Reich. That's bad for us. Hand-picked people like his cabinet, like the sycophants around him. That's priority one. Are you loyal? Will you carry out any evil asked of you? That is question one. For Donnie. So these troops they're putting on the street against you, they're screening for sycophants. Not good. I knew it, and this was an admission that they're looking for specific people, just like Hitler. Same thing. Loyalty above all else. Unbelievable. We stopped 7 wars. The number is actually 10. What wars indeed? Again, Donnie sitting there. Donnie stopped 10 wars. Again, this is all in one day. I don't think these are from today yet. I guess this is another rant against ABC. They're fake news, bad stories. They're an arm of the Democratic Party. Their license should be revoked. Again, Caesar has spoken, so let's take him off the air. Only Reich-approved news will be consumed. Here's Donnie on Ukraine. We spend no money on Ukraine anymore. We were getting fleeced by a president that didn't know what he was doing. I don't blame Ukraine. Now we make money. So outright bragging, boasting of abandoning our ally that we made a commitment to, a promise to. Because he's Donnie Krasnov, owned by Vlad. Another abomination. I'm astounded how much the volume, the sheer volume of evil. I've never seen anything like it. Antichrist. I wish I was wrong. It's weird how Trump's hands can't heal as miraculously as his ear did. Great point. Great point. Here's J.B. Pritzker, who made a lot of comments about Donnie. I'm going to read one from yesterday. This is not about fighting crime. He's talking about the deployment of troops. This is about searching for any justification to deploy the military in a blue city, in a blue state, to try to intimidate his political rivals. Indeed, this is about the president and his complicit lackey, Stephen Miller, searching for ways to lay the groundwork to circumvent our democracy, militarize our cities and elections. Yep. No, it's the military takeover. Because he's not leaving. The Reich ain't leaving, I'm sorry. Too late. They already got DC. Checkmate, I told you. "85% of farmers, according to Trump, voted for Trump in the 2024 election. Since Trump took over in January, 173 farms went bankrupt. Suicide among farmers have exploded. I watched the video. The guy was at auction looking at tractors. He bought 3 because the farmer that owned them committed suicide. I talked about this before the election. I've been talking about it for 10 fucking years. And I knew they would vote for him again. The majority of the farmers in this country. He ruined so many farmers in the first term with his tariffs with China. They lost their trading partners. They went bankrupt. Suicide went up in the farming community. Until a movement developed where they helped vote him out of office. Well, 4 years went by. I guess they forgot. Most of them voted for him again, and now they're back in the same position. I can't believe it. Hate is powerful. Hate is, and brainwashing, and stupidity and ignorance. Very powerful. 173 farms. Laura Loomer. Nobody, I repeat, nobody wants 600,000 more Chinese students, aka communist spies in the United States. Yeah, we know the Reich doesn't want that. We know the cult doesn't want that. We know the racists don't want that. So there's a reason Donnie's going against their wishes. He's losing a trade war against China. He's hoping Xi will throw him a bone if Donnie throws him a bone. Not going to happen. Donnie already lost. He just doesn't know it yet. Donnie, we've stopped 7 wars, and really the number is actually 10. We're not including a couple. We're not including what we did with Iran, stopping their nuclear plan. Didn't stop jack shit. How many days has he been telling this lie? It went from Miss Levitt and him saying, I've been stopping a war a month, making a peace deal a month. Now give me my Nobel. Now we stopped 10. We forgot 3 of them. Deranged, abominations, dementia, lies, inversion of reality, grifting. I've never seen anything like this. He's the perfect candidate for the Antichrist. I'm sorry. I wish it wasn't true. It's the only logical conclusion. I've never seen anything like this. It must be supernatural. Again, this is one day. Now he's talking about LA. If we didn't go to Los Angeles, you would literally have had to call off the Olympics. It was so bad. Not even remotely true. How many sporting events go on in LA and California every day, all day? Just a lie. And again, people, he keeps trying to justify what he's doing. This was planned a long time ago. He always intended to do this no matter what. So these bullshit proclamations about, if I didn't send the military, if I didn't deploy your own troops against you. No, it was already planned. It's a military takeover of your nation because he's never leaving. That's simple. Plus, he's of the devil. He's the Antichrist. He's here to ruin, destroy, divide, chaos, killing, worship. So, no, he didn't have to send the guard in. Most of the time, they just stood around doing nothing. No, he wouldn't have to call off the Olympics. Just a justification for their military takeover. And by their, I mean the Reich, Donnie, Miller, others. That they always intended. Now he's talking about Pritzker again. This slob of a governor you have in Illinois, Chicago is the worst. These places are really bad, says the convicted felon. Says the fat pig. An orange face and a diaper. Leon's been posting these cryptic statements lately as if he has nothing to do with what's going on. I love how people do that. Humans are so good at doing that, as if they had nothing to do with what happened. Any government driving destruction of its own people is not legitimate. Leon means I didn't get my EV tax credits, and I'm still mad about that. So in a cryptic way, I'm going to talk shit on Donnie and the Reich. That's all that means. Leon helped build this. He was co-chancellor for a while, fired hundreds of thousands of people, cut aid to starving people. He's no better than anyone. He helped build all this. Now he's mad. Now he's crying because he didn't get what he wanted out of it. Again, all you cunts up there in oligarch land, world leaders, etc., you all thought you could put a leash on this motherfucker. Every one of you were wrong. And you're learning it the hardest way, son. And the only one he hasn't turned on yet, Vlad Putin. I'm waiting for that day. That's going to be an ugly one. Poor Leon didn't get his EV. He's still getting plenty of your money, though. Plenty of welfare. Don't worry. Here's Donnie today, I think. The line is that I'm a dictator, but I stop crime. So a lot of people say, if that's the case, I'd rather have a dictator. No one wants a dictator except the cult, because they're weak-minded, malleable, and pathetic. And probably of the devil. Everyone else is horrified. And again, I can't believe these things. This, again, is being said out loud. The line is that I'm a dictator, because he is. And that's what he always aspired to be, by the way. Remember in the first term he won in Greenland, you remember that? We all laughed. We didn't know about the technocracy map then. We didn't know about Leon and Thale and others and the whole Nazi background of South Africa and how it all played in. Now we do. This was planned a long time ago. Oh, this is Donnie setting the stage for the burn bag thing. Remember, Kosh allegedly found a whole bunch of info that was supposed to be burned in a secret room in the FBI. Total bullshit. The whole thing's fucking just made up. Remember, Donnie said the J6 Commission and others were going to burn evidence. And this is the evidence they forgot to burn, I bet. Donnie's setting the stage for the theater. This is all rehearsed, by the way, and discussed prior. You've also found many bags of information. I think they call them burn bags. They're supposed to be burned, and they didn't get burned, having to do with how corrupt the 2020 election was. When will that all be coming out? Gabbard, Mr. President, I'll be the first to brief you once we have that information collected. In other words, once we fabricate it. Because it doesn't exist. Donnie's letting you know that's going to happen in the future. You ready? Donnie, I'm not walking in Baltimore right now. Baltimore is a hellhole. Again, that's a president talking about an American city. And we all know why he's calling it a hellhole. Abomination after abomination. Over 1,200 days of abominations. Donnie's right on schedule. He never misses a day. The governor of Illinois should be calling me and he should be saying, could you send over the troops, please? It's out of control. In New York, it's out of control. Both the governor of New York and Illinois both said, we do not want your troops in our state. We do not want you deploying the military in our state. No, thank you. That's why Donnie's saying this. So again, you should be begging for the military subjugation of your area by your own troops. For Caesar Donnie. Inversion of reality. Yes, the subjugation of your local population at machine gun point that you get to pay for. You should want that. Only something of the devil would say that, let alone implement it. He's talking to Linda. Is that McMahon? Linda, how about it? We want nothing less than $500 million from Harvard. Don't negotiate, Linda. They've been very bad. Again, outright extortion to the tune of $500 million being discussed right on live television, first thing in the morning. Like I said, protection racket philosophy. If you want to run a high-end academic institution, you pay me. You want to run Google, Meta, whatever, you want to do business in this world, you pay me. You want our troops to protect you, you pay me. You want to broadcast, you pay me. This ain't going to a good place, rich people. Gonna suck you all dry, boy. There ain't a goddamn thing you can do about it. Already too late. Fuck you gonna do? Nothing. $500 million they're trying to shake down Harvard for. Will you get a check from that? No. Oh, Newsom for Pope. Yeah, this came out today, I believe. I think that's a good idea. Why not? It's not absurd at all, right? Right, Roops? Donnie, I have the right to do anything I want to do. I'm the president of the United States. If I think our country is in danger, and it is in danger in these cities, I can do it. No, he doesn't have the right to do anything he wants to do. And the generals and the military should have said no. This isn't a foreign enemy or an invasion we're talking about. You're being turned against your own citizens, and you fucking know it. How fucking dare you, and how dare he for doing it? No, he doesn't have the right to do anything he wants to do, but we'll all sit back and let him do it, unfortunately. And, again, is this a loophole for authoritarianism? Oh, it's an emergency. It's a war. It's an invasion. And the courts said, yeah. And when he comes for the judges, don't cry. You made this monster. You put the gavel down and said, yes, Donnie, you can subjugate us. Because I know you won't come after me. I'm a high-end judge in a black robe, and people worship me. The judges in El Salvador probably thought that too. And the judges in Germany in 1933 probably thought that too. Wonder what happened to them. Again, more abominations today, not as many as yesterday, but I have the right to do anything I want to do. That's this entity's existence. That's why he's got 19 rape charges. He believes it. I can do whatever I want. And no one's going to stop me. It's a shame no one ever did stop him. They had 4 years. They could have taught him a lesson. They could have taught future insurrectionists a lesson. Nope. Let him skate. Give him the keys. So he can do it again. Even worse. Destroy the whole world this time. This is Steve Witkoff. And again, they all went around the table yesterday and today just complimenting him. But today was... This is just one example. I'm not going to read all of them, just this. There's only one thing I wish for. That the Nobel Committee finally gets its act together and realizes that you are the single finest candidate since that Nobel Award was ever talked about. Donnie deserves it more than anyone. That's what he's saying. Here's Hegseth with the Freudian slip. Today, this is what it looked like. They were sitting around the table all complimenting dear leader. Those who long for peace must declare for war, prepare for war. He didn't mean to say declare for war. He meant to say prepare for war. But it's a Reich, and there's going to be some warring. They want to change it to the Department of War or the Secretary of War. Remember? There's a reason for that. Trump now has the National Guard picking up garbage. Here's that picture. And yes, that was all over the internet today. That's what your tax money's being spent on. Subjugation and you getting used to troops all over the place. And hey, why not just have them pick up trash? And you have the military roll out the red carpet for Vlad. Remember those pictures the other day? Well, President Trump says about me, Gavin C. Newsom, he's a nice guy, looks good. Thank you for your kind words, little hands. Everyone seems to be talking about me, America's favorite governor, and Gavin's talking about that. Because Donnie said Gavin does weird things with his hands. And remember, Donnie's the accordion guy and the double stroke guy. But Gavin does weird things with his hands. This is Donnie talking about Ukraine. People go into war thinking they're going to win the war and they get their asses kicked. Nobody's going into a war thinking they're going to lose. I'm sure Ukraine thought they were going to win. They were going to beat someone 15 times your size. You don't go into a war that's 15 times your size. Again, abomination after abomination. Ukraine didn't ask for the war. They didn't go into anything. They got attacked by a sociopath madman. And Donnie works for that madman. And it's that simple. So he's going to defend Russia at every turn, which he's been doing, literally. And he just rolled the red carpet out for Vlad on our own soil. He had our troops literally lay that carpet for Vlad. Your country's over. You gave it to a Russian asset. And Vlad owns him. The red carpet on Alaskan soil should teach you that lesson. That your own troops that you pay for had to roll out. No, that will not go well for you, Rubes. Don't worry. When Donnie puts the knife in your back. National Guardsmen with rifles patrol Smithsonian Metro Station in D.C. That's what this looks like. So now they got their rifles. Very necessary. This is Donnie trying to explain to the press why he's letting the 600,000 Chinese students. In May, Rubio said they were aggressively removing visas of Chinese students. Yesterday, you said you wanted to allow 600,000 to study in the U.S. What is the policy on Chinese students? Here's Donnie. I'm getting along very well with President Xi. I think it's very insulting to say their students can't come here. Well, you started harassing foreign students, told 8 colleges they couldn't accept foreign students, and changed your mind. What a joke this is. Again, it's about the trade war. Donnie does not know what to do. China is kicking his ass. I like that other countries' students come here. Really? Because you told a bunch of colleges they can't have foreign students until you changed your mind. And you know what? If they didn't, our college system would go to hell really quickly. Well, I'm like, what a... Whew. Here's Donnie on Gavin's hands. He's got some strange hand action. I don't know what the hell his problem is. It's a little weird, to be honest. There's a little something shaky going on there, says the accordion guy. And the only dance he can dance is the double stroke. Zelensky is not exactly innocent either. It takes 2 people to tango. Indeed, Donnie. And you've been tangoing. Donnie Krasnov has been doing the tango with Vlad since 1987. Unbelievable. Again, at every turn he proves he's Vlad's bitch. Zelensky's perfectly innocent. He didn't attack anybody. He got attacked. He's trying to defend his people just like anybody would. What a fucking joke. This traitor, not fit to shine that man's shoes. Trump is a dictator. Most people say if he stops crime, he can be whatever he wants. No, most people don't say that. When you hear this, it's the third time he's saying it, you should understand your country's over. You're in a dictatorship now, and that noose and that vice is only going to tighten. And again, I take no pleasure. I'm tired as fuck. It's almost 2 hours in. This probably won't even upload. I take no pleasure in saying this. Most people say if you call him a dictator, if he stops crime, he can be whatever he wants. I'm not a dictator, by the way. No, he is. Literally, I'm sorry. I've been yelling about it for 10 years. It's too late now. I'm just here to guide you through it. You have spoken out very strongly about the weaponization of government. Is your government weaponizing government by digging into the mortgage records of officials you don't like? No, they're public. Except everyone who says that committed mortgage fraud, because he's used this excuse on Letitia, on Adam Schiff, on someone else now. It's never true. And it's funny because Donnie's an adjudicated fraud that you voted for. So don't pretend you care about fraud, son. That's what that looks like. Again, that's from today. The press. Unbelievable. The adjudicated fraud. Lying about other people committing fraud. This is Donnie talking to Intel. I said, you know what you should do if you're smart? Give the U.S. a 10% stake in your company. And he looked at me and he said, I'll do that. I said, I just made $11 billion for the United States. No, the reason he chose $11 billion, he paid $11 billion of your money for that stake, which he will pocket. Fucking Marx. Unbelievable. Everything's a grift, a lie. I've never seen anything like it. And again, this is why your country's over. Because you allowed this type of theater to rule the day. Instead of being out in the streets protesting the fact they're turning your troops against you. Charlie Kirk. Cracker Barrel is reverting back to its original logo. Do you realize organizations pay Charlie Kirk to lie to you? So you're paying attention to Cracker Barrel instead of troops on your streets, son. Cracker Barrel, in case you didn't know, class, they changed their logo because they're going bankrupt and they don't know what to do. They've been doing badly for a while, even before Donnie came back. I'm sure Donnie being back doesn't help any business, except the ones he's in league with, grifted with. So they changed the logo. Everyone freaked out. Charlie Kirk and the whole right-wing machine put this in your face and got you all outraged about it. Instead of worrying about the machine gun that's about to be pointed to you, at you, by your own troops. You fucking fools. Go woke, go broke, the White House says. And they put Donnie in the Cracker Barrel thing. Because they see this as a huge victory as they're distracting you from Epstein and all with this dumb shit. You fucking idiots. And you know who I'm talking to. This is why my country's over. Because of an orange con man, rubery, and greedy cunts at the top that thought they could control this animal and just make money off him. Every one of you were wrong. You don't have close to the power, son. I don't care how much fucking money you have to control that beast. Again, that's the White House that you're paying for. Big victory. They got Cracker Barrel to change it back. Oh my God. Does that get Donnie off the Epstein list? No, it doesn't. Does that make your Messiah not a pedophile? No. Does that make you not in a movement that's of Satan? No. Is Cracker Barrel's food even that good? No. Mediocre diner. I've been there. Again, Donnie, with the black women thing, I don't know what it is. I see black women wearing a red MAGA hat last night on television. Please let the president come in. You have a force of black women. They're like, only Trump. They want Trump to come in. They're all over the place in Chicago. By Trump coming in, he means deploy the military on your streets. So according to the Antichrist, black women want him to deploy the military on the streets in Chicago. Oh, that's the end, finally. Again, the sheer volume. This is a day and a quarter. The Ass Kiss Fest and the Lie Fest and the Grift Fest lasted about 2 hours today. This is a mad king who's lost his mind. And he sat there as they praised him and as he lied and bent and said, hey, what's wrong? I'm just trying to deploy the military in your streets. Why aren't people begging for it? I'm not a dictator. They keep saying I'm a dictator. Everywhere I said it would go, it's gone. Months ago. Months and months. I don't even know what to say anymore. Constant abominations. The sheer volume of yesterday and the little bit today, my God. Only logical answer I can come up with for this, again, is supernatural. I don't want it to be. It's not because it's what I believe, so that must be reality. No. I believe what I see before my fucking eyes. And I've never seen anything like this. And my God, where this is going. Where it's going already. This guy sits on television day after day from the Oval Office, complaining that people aren't enjoying and don't invite in his military takeover of your country. This ain't drama again, son. It's really happening this time. And no, it wasn't the liberals. It was you. All day, every day. For decades. Anyway, my final message, you cannot take the mark, and I gotta get going. This probably won't even upload. It's 2 hours. And as always, people, if you take the mark, that will be the end of you. There's no going back. I want to say that before I say this. Again, people, if you'd like to help, PayPal at the top of the comment section. As always, 8 hours later when this uploads. I hope you have a wonderful evening. And my God, again, the sheer volume of abominations. I don't know what else to say. Have a good evening. Till the next episode.